Anyhow, I think primarily, it's through Divine Metal Distro is a good company that gets the stuff out, and through Rocks Productions, he has a really nice web store that you can go to, and he has a real easy buttons to push to be able to have international shipping. So if you say somebody over in your part of the world was interested in it, you basically just click on a button and it does everything for you.
Yes.
So it's pretty easy to get a hold of it. As far as hard copies in stores, being somebody that doesn't really tour per se, I'm only playing live with Deliverance and Face Down on occasion. It's difficult for, basically my stuff would probably just sit in stores, so there's really not much of a point to have them sitting in store shelves.
Okay. So if people...
Maybe some Christian bookstores, it would probably be worth it, but other than that, I mean, in like, say, record stores, mainstream record stores, there'd be very few people that would even have heard of my stuff.
Okay. So if people going to rockswithxproductions.com, there they also will find more information.
That is correct. Yeah, that would be the place to go. I would steer them at Rocks Productions, exactly what you said.
Okay. And how did you get to...
The nice thing about that store, too, or on Divine Metal Distro, is that they have little song samples. So if say you have somebody that's not sure if they're going to like it, they can actually sample, 2, 3, 4 minutes of music on, actually, I'm not sure about those sites, but on my personal website, you can hear very long sound bites of this to hear the technical metal or the acoustic guitar or whatever. But my website is michaelphillipsmusic.net.
Okay, and this Michael Phillips, of course, with double L.
Correct.
Okay. And how did you get in contact with Rocks Productions? How it went? Or you know him already, or?
Actually, I knew Bill Bafford. I wasn't... Bill Bafford is the owner of Rocks Productions. I knew him, not on a real personal level, but I had met him a couple times through Deliverance and Face Down shows, and he's in California as well, in the Los Angeles area. So I knew of him, but basically when I first started, flirting with the idea of putting out a solo record, it was originally going to be just acoustic guitar, and it was going to come out through Retroactive Records, which is Matt Hunt. He does a lot of different bands. I don't know. Have you heard of Retroactive?
Yes, Retroactive. Yes.
Yeah. So I was originally in talks with Matt, but it progressed into something. I thought, you know what? I'm going to add a couple of really technical progressive metal tunes that are in my heart that I've never really been able to play with other bands. Because I love old Rush and how the songs were like 15, 20 minutes long.
Yes.
And it just doesn't matter. I wasn't like trying to write a commercial radio friendly verse chorus whatever song. I just wanted to play exactly what I felt and progress from thing to thing. But anyhow, how I got in contact with Rocks was Retroactive was very busy with different things he was putting out, and this was in late 07. Or I'm sorry, late 08.
Okay.
And my album was pretty much finished and ready to go. So I was somewhat perplexed. I really wanted to get this thing out, and he wasn't going to be able to put it out until actually this year. So I had my friend Scott, who's Ultimatum singer, Scott Waters. I had talked to him, and I was kind of bummed out and down, thinking, man, this thing's just going to sit for a long time. He told me about Bill Bafford, and he said, man, he does really good work with his artists. He's a great guy. You ought to try giving him a call. So I called him, sent him a CD, and he really loved it right away. And he's like, dude, we got to put this out. So he sent me a contract, and it happened relatively quickly. I would say within 6 months, it was completely pressed and put out.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's great. And there is also, you're with the solo project, or you're going on with it, or you're going also to play in a band anymore? Or there's not a real future for a band?
Well, yeah, right now, my band Face Down, which is a little lesser known probably than Deliverance, but Face Down, we were on Rescue Records, which is the owner of that label is POD's drummer, Dad. Noah Bernardo Sr.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he signed our band Face Down, and when POD made it, to superstardom in late 2000, he had a ton of money because he owned the rights to the first 2 POD records.
Yes.
And he was able to, he really did spend a lot of money on Face Down. We went into a really nice studio. The engineer that did our first Face Down record actually worked on the Sepultura Against record.
Uh-huh.
And the guy was phenomenal. And that first Face Down record, I mean, for fans like Machine Head
Mm-hmm.
or, Slipknot or Pantera type of music, that's kind of geared in that direction, real thrashy, like groove type metal, tuned down with a screaming type singer.
Okay. Oh, so we have to watch out for this band Face Down.
Exactly, Face Down. That's spelled with an S. That's FASEDOWN. But we also have a MySpace, and then we're currently working on new material, and that's kind of my focus right now. The reason being is I would probably prefer to do something a little more technical, like my solo record,
Mm-hmm.
but being able to get the musicians to play that style of music, it's just extremely difficult. So, I would love to do it, and if there was guys that came along and wanted to play, and I all of a sudden fell into some musicians that were Christians that could play like that,
Mm-hmm.
I would do it in a heartbeat. But, I have to, it's just a little bit more difficult to find, I would say. I mean, and that's not to put down anything like in Deliverance or Face Down.
Mm-hmm.
The music's just a little bit more simplistic, and
Yes.
it still has its own bit of technicality to it, and the players in those bands are fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's just with my own solo stuff, it's a lot more intricate.
Yeah. But how it went then, let's say, with Jim Chevin and Jimmy Brown and the others, there were also good musicians that you have on the album.
I mean, exactly. I mean, I have different guys at different things that could probably do it, but getting everybody
Mm-hmm.
together and rehearsing and going, that would be the part of the problem. But yeah, Jim Chaffin is a fantastic drummer. He's one of my best friends, and he actually works for my wife and I.
Okay.
So
that's
we're
great.
very good friends, and we go to church together. We both go to Calvary Chapel of Fresno.
Okay, that's in the area there.
It is, yeah. So him and I are very close friends, and then Jimmy, we're also very good friends, but he lives in another state. He lives in Las Vegas, and he's actually getting ready to move.
Okay.
But for him and I, like rehearsals, we would just fly back and forth between Vegas and
Yes.
Fresno for when we did the As Above, So Below recordings,
Mhm.
and then for rehearsals, we just fly him into Fresno to do rehearsals for different shows we were doing.
Okay. But why he went? Because he lived also in California, or not? Mr. Brown. Jimmy Brown.
Jimmy Brown's actually in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay. But he's living there now. But he lived years ago also in California, or not?
He did, yeah. When I first joined Deliverance, he was in Los Angeles. Yeah, and that's
Okay.
where we practiced, was
Mhm.
down in the Los Angeles area.
Okay. And then he moved for family reasons or something there.
Yeah, for work and different things. Like, I believe first, right after L.A., I'm pretty sure he moved to St. Louis for a
Mhm.
while. And that was when I was doing Face Down. He was still doing Deliverance, but just, it was just a little bit more low-key.
Okay.
And then he relocated to Vegas, and then him and I hooked up again in 2005, actually. And that's when we started working on stuff for the As Above, So Below record.
Mhm.
He's actually Jimmy's currently working on a new record right now that I've heard 2 tracks, and they sound very cool. It's real thrashy. It's a mixture of new school and old school sounding metal, but
Okay.
it sounds great.
Oh, that's good to hear. So we will also hear more about it.
Oh, yeah, you'll hear more about it.
Okay. So thank you very much that you could have somehow contact with us again. We were waiting and waiting, and we thought, no, it will be not this evening, but then all of a sudden there was a telephone call from Mr. Mike.
Yes.
That's really great that you try to be busy to call us over here. That's really I appreciate it a lot.